And hello again, and here we are in the sunshine. So I've rolled the bike out so we can see it in more detail, and just go through a few things I've been working on in the last few days. So in the last video I was working on the electrics, and now that's pretty much all done. And in fact, if I put some oil in the engine and put some petrol in the tank, it might even fire up. I can't do that yet though, because if I put oil in the engine it would only leak out, because I'm short of a couple of seals to go behind the sprocket here. There's a plate to go behind the sprocket, which is part of our one-off outrigger bearing system. Haven't got that yet, should be here soon though. But apart from that, yeah, all electrics are done. However, what I've been spending the time on recently is getting this exhaust pipe mounted just right, and I think I've got there pretty much anyway. So let's zoom in and see how I did. And so now we've zoomed in a bit, you can always see this plate here, which I've cut and shaped to mount the exhaust pipe to, and believe me, it's not going to go anywhere. Now that bracket is made from 3mm thick stainless steel plate, which is a heck of a job to cut by hand with a hacksaw and drill and so on. And in fact, it's still not quite finished. You can maybe see some markings on there where I still want to cut it down a bit, shape it and make it look a lot nicer. And once that's done, that bracket will go off to be powder coated black to sort of hide it, as indeed will this bracket here, these hangers, although in this case they'll be hard anodized black. Anyway, so pretty happy with that. And so moving on then, I think you can see that I've now fitted the 4 springs which connect the down pipes to the collector, and also I've painted this part of the collector here where we had to cut it and lengthen it to make the exhaust pipe fit. But sadly I only had matte black high temperature paint, so it doesn't quite match the rest of the finish, which is a ceramic sort of satin finish. So I've just ordered some satin black paint from PJ1. This is the very good quality American stuff, and hopefully when that arrives we can respray this and it'll look a lot neater. And so moving on then, I've also removed the filler cap from the tank. Just for that, because it's seen better days. I also had no key for it, so that was a bit of a problem. And in fact the new one has just arrived, it's in my pocket now. And there it is, all nice and shiny, complete with a key of course, that's kind of handy. I also removed it because in the next few days of the bodywork it's going to go off for paint, at last. So when that happens things might slow down a bit, because, well, paintwork does tend to take a long time to get back. I mean, I'll be surprised if I get it back by Christmas, but that's okay. I mean, a good painter is difficult to find, and I've got one just 2 miles away, Mark, who did my guzzi, did a great job. Price was great too, so I'm quite happy to wait, you know, if need be a few months to get it back, as long as it's done the way I want it, which I'm sure it will be. And let's face it, when winter's here, you know, I don't ride my bikes anyway. So yeah, that's all quite exciting. But not quite as exciting as a parcel that's just arrived literally an hour ago. So I've not even opened it yet, so I'm quite excited to see what's in there. So let's see what I've got. And that box is right here. It's a company called HEL, H-E-L, British company, down in Devon, and I've used them before because they make custom-made brake lines for your bikes, and you know, they're really good. But recently they've sort of expanded, and now they make both brake calipers for cars and bikes, and also what's in here. So what we have here are a pair of brake and clutch master cylinders. At least I hope so anyway. It's actually very light, it's a lot lighter than expected. So let's have a look. Yeah, oops, there goes the little dash pot. Okay, get that as well. And yeah, so here they are, complete with everything you need. So let's open it up and we'll get a bit closer. And here we have it unboxed. As you can see, it's a Radial master cylinder, very modern. This machine completely out of a solid piece of billet aluminium, as indeed is this rather lovely lever. Now the finish, it calls it nickel, but it looks a bit darker than that to me. Although I could have gone for a black finish overall, which you might have thought I'd go for because the bike's mainly black, but I did want a bit of contrast, so that's fine. You can also specify any colour you like for a bit more money. I think it's about £40 more, and they'll finish it in some sort of Simachrome finish, any colour you like pretty much. So yeah, but the reason why I went for this particular model, not just because it's made in the UK, that's always very helpful, it's because it's quite a clever bit of kit, because the brake and the clutch here are actually identical in every way. They don't make different models for the right hand side and left hand side. And the way they do it is because you can spin it over like that, and you've also got a banjo bolt connection here as well, so you can go this way or this way. So obviously you just take this out and spin it over, and away you go. So it's very clever. It's also quite clever because it's got a way of changing the piston size inside the master cylinder, which is pretty damn cool. And in this case, standard is 16mm, which is fine probably for my clutch, for example, or even the brake. But with a bit of simple adjustments, you can change it to be 14, 15 or 16, which is pretty amazing. That way you can get the clutch feel just right or the brake feel just right. And again, pretty clever stuff. They also make a similar model, but in that case the piston size is a bit bigger. I think it's something like 19, 20, 21, but you have to check the website to confirm that. I will put up the website down here. It's hell, of course, www.whatever hell.co.uk. Yeah, it's very, very nice. So I look forward to seeing that on the bike. Although of course I will also have to buy some brake lines and clutch lines for the bike, which of course I'll buy from Hell. Now they have a fantastic online site there where you can specify the colour you want, the length of the hoses, the angles you want for the two banjo bolts at each end, and so on. So they make it very, very easy. Just got to measure it all out, order it in, and a few days later you get your finished hoses back. Yeah, so pretty impressive place. We've also got good service from them, so I'm pretty damn sure these things will be nice. But in fact I'm quite tempted now just to try it out on the bike. And so here they are on the bike, and I must say they do look pretty damn cool. It's actually quite funny because the finish, the colour, looks just like the finish on the Renthal grips. Here's the other side here, you can see the difference, pretty damn close. Oh, and by the way, the reason why that's not on the throttle yet is because I got it on about halfway with the appropriate glue, and it wouldn't go anymore, it just stuck. I could not get it to move, so I had to rip it off quick before the glue set. So I have to try that another day, I think, and put something on here a bit more slippery, I think, just to get the damn thing on. Anyway, that's the job for the day. And so I'm really happy with these two products from Hell, and in fact you get a big red H on the back of each one of them. This H, by the way, is hand painted at the factory, and it's something you can omit if you don't want it. They also now offer the option whereby this bracket includes a mount for a mirror, which I didn't go for, but anyway. Yes, overall then, I'm really happy with these two master cylinders, and I think they're pretty damn good. Anyway, moving on from the front of the bike to the back of the bike, I've managed to make a bracket in stainless steel to hold both the rear lamp and the two indicators, and that's what's next. So, I've worked out roughly where it needs to go, something like that. So to make a bracket, we better start with some CAD, cardboard aided design. So come back when I've cut all this out and bent it and so on, and we'll see how we're getting on. Okay, so after much work with a pencil and scissors and so on, we have a bracket. This is the Mark 1 version, very simple, and what it will do is it will bolt to the underside here of the frame. It's got 20mm sides all the way around, and that's so that we can bolt a bracket on the back here, which in turn will bolt to this, something like, hang on, get it right, something like that. And on the side we've got the sides here so that I can bolt the brackets for the indicators on either side. That's why they're 20mm. 10mm not enough, more than 20mm don't need it. So yeah, that's it, pretty damn simple. Have it made probably in 2mm stainless steel when I go and see Jeff the welder at some point this week. And yeah, pretty simple, that's all you need. And so with my little cardboard template, I wrote out a more accurate diagram, and from that I want to see Jeff the welder, who made this for me while I waited. So here it is. It's made from, I think it said 16 gauge, or I think that's about 2mm thick stainless steel, and now this has got to be drilled quite carefully to make it mount to the back of the bike, and that's what's next. And now the ducktail removed, you can see how I've bolted this bracket onto the back of the bike. That's going nowhere, it's very, very strong. And of course we've also got the two indicators which have to go somewhere down here. So right now I don't know exactly where they're going to go. I've got to refit the ducktail and work out the best place for them to go. And here is one of those indicators. Now if I try and mount it directly on the side of my bracket, it doesn't quite work because first of all they don't stick out far enough, and secondly they hit the edge of the ducktail, which is no good. It also means, because this bracket's quite far back, I can't position it where I want it to be. I want it to be sort of here, sort of about there, not at the back here. So I think what we'll do is we'll drill 2 holes in the side of this bracket and then make another bracket to go forward and down the appropriate amount to give me the position I want, which is going to be something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to take some measurements now. Well, as usual, I'll use my CAD, my cardboard edit design, make a bracket, and we'll go from there. And so I've now made this cardboard bracket for the indicator mounts, which have just been taped to this main bracket here. So now I've got to make 2 of these in aluminium, drill them and mount them to this main bracket. But I also need to make 4 little spacers to mount these little brackets here 40mm out from the sides, because that'll give me the correct position for the indicators on the back of the bike, and that's what's next. And so, using my cardboard template and a bit of 3mm aluminium plate I found, I've cut out 2 rough shapes for the 2 brackets that I need. So now what I've got to do is cut them down a bit better, shape them, and hopefully they'll be fine. And I must say, actually, cutting out from 3mm aluminium is a hell of a lot easier than cutting it from stainless steel, so it's a huge relief to use that for a change. Anyway, let's carry on. I'll now shape these and get them looking presentable. And so now I've finished shaping these 2 brackets, and I've also drilled them for the indicator. So that's so far so good. I've now got to drill the top of them with 2 holes so that it can be mounted on the side of this stainless steel bracket. But that can wait until tomorrow, so we'll continue then. And now here we are, another day. Another parcel's just arrived, and in here, I hope, is something from BC Express, and this should be my blank rear sprocket that I ordered. Hopefully this will be the correct one. Get it open. And the reason here is, and the reason why it's blank is because the rear wheel of my bike here was made by my mate Jeff about 15 years ago, which ended up on my drag bike, and when he made it, he drilled the hubs to suit no known rear sprocket in the known universe. So it's completely random, it doesn't match any other bike ever made, so nothing will fit. And that means you have to buy a blank like this and then drill it to suit the hub. And yeah, so that's why I had to order this blank one from BC Express. Now this has happened before because I've needed to do the same thing when those wheels were on my drag bike for my Harley. So what I've got down here are 2, put that down a second, these are the 2 rear sprockets I've used, different gearing of course, on my drag bike, but it was the same wheel. And you can see here the difference. I mean, this was, I think it's about 48, something like that. This one's 34, so quite a difference. And that's because the differences between the gearing between obviously an inline 4 Kawasaki and a big old Evo 2.2 litre Harley. So yeah, bit of a difference. So what we'll have to do now is drill these mounts to match these here, and then of course perhaps I might even make it a bit prettier by drilling some holes or something like that anyway around the outside. That said, of course, this is so much smaller that yeah, I mean, look how small it is, it's ridiculous. But that's the gearing I need for a Kawasaki Z, the big old Kawasaki anyway, the 1170. Yeah, so that's come now. So what I've got to do now is take this and this to Jeff's workshop, because he's got his rotary table, which makes life a lot easier to machine out these holes accurately. When it's done that, we can try it on the bike and see if we've got a problem with the chain clearance, because I think I will have. Oh, and one more thing's happened today. I've taken all the bodywork off and taken it to Mark the painter. We had about an hour's discussion about what I wanted, the colours and so on, and I did change my mind ever so slightly on his advice. Now, I'm not going to go through what the colour will be, what the design will be. We'll wait until it's all done, you can see it when it's all finished. But the overall design's the same, not changed that, but he thought that maybe a slightly different colour would work better for me, so I said, yeah, no problem, we'll go for that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, that's a good decision and it'll look good when it's all finished. And it should be finished, in theory, before Christmas. It's now late September, so you might think, bloody hell, Christmas, that's you know, almost 3 months away. But if I get it back in 3 months, I'll be very happy indeed. And as I mentioned earlier on, you know, finding a good painter who's you know, does good jobs and isn't too far away from me. It's only 2 miles from me. You know, is a boon, and I'm quite happy to wait a few months to get back the paintwork that I like. I mean, Mark did the Guzzi for me. I'm really happy with it, and the price was very reasonable, so can't argue with that. So I'm really looking forward to getting the paint back once it's all done. Yeah, so I now have 2 or 3 months to finish all the details on the bike. I mean, it won't take me that long, but there are some little finicky issues that might take some time to sort out. So for example, as I already mentioned, this ZZR 1100 sprocket, which has a 5/8 offset built into it, may not be quite enough, because just eyeballing it, it looks like, you know, it doesn't come out quite far enough to meet up with the sprocket on the back. I'll wait until I get the sprockets machined and mounted and then we can do a proper measurement and see, you know, what options we've got. It's possible I could machine back the hub a little bit to get into a line, but then I'm getting awfully close to the edge of the rim and the rear tyre, so who knows, it's probably going to be easier overall and cheaper just to go and specify a different sprocket, maybe, I don't know, what's that, 5/8, it might need to be 3/4 or 20 odd mil, get that from Talon, about £100 or so, and away we go. So yeah, I'll have to wait for that. But if I do need to have a new sprocket, then obviously that might take, you know, I don't know, a month or 2 months to arrive, so that's why you need such a long time to build a damn thing. So yeah, so far so good. I've now of course got to order my new hydraulic lines for the clutch and the brake, as well as the rear brake. That'll be done soon, and then, well, once I get the seals for the inner plate here, which goes behind the sprocket, in theory I can fill it full of oil, hit the starter motor, a bit of petrol, it might even fire up. That's the plan anyway, so we'll see. But I think that'll be in the next episode. So for the time being then, thanks for watching and cheers.